Hello everyone, welcome to our Learning Netrunner series where we're going to teach you the fundamentals of the game Android Netrunner, and it is a living card game. If you don't know what that means, it means it releases in a series of packs and boxes over time. So if you're familiar with card games, collectible, whatnot, it's kind of a more laid-back, casual approach to that format. Now, what we're doing here is showing you HB, Haas-Bioroid, which is a super cool corporation, facing off against Kit, who is an incredible runner. Actually, one of the fan favorites for the Shapers.
Always been one of my favorites as a Shaper. She plays a little bit aggressive. And of course, we did the Netrunner tutorial, which you can watch if you are unfamiliar with how to play, if you want a step-by-step. Here's how this game works. And in this game, we're going to demonstrate some real play instead.
Yeah.
Last time we were kind of just showing off some examples and making decisions based on showing certain points.
So there's a couple of things that are going to happen in this video that you should know about. First of all, like Zach said, check out that tutorial, that how to play video. That's going to be very important to establish the baseline. And these games are going to flesh out your understanding by actually showing things in play and like looking at Netrunner as it happens. The other thing you need to know is that we have blogs as well with these deck lists in them. These deck lists are constructed from a revised core set, one revised core set, a deluxe box, which I'll show you here in a second, and then a single pack, single data pack. So this is a great starting point for the game, right? You've got your core set, you're interested, you like it. What you can do is, and this is why we're facing off Shaper against HB, there's actually a deluxe box that is called Creation and Control. And what these deluxe boxes are, packaged in is basically faction pairings. So this deluxe box has cards primarily for the Shapers and Haas-Bioroid. So it's really nice that you can get one box and flesh out two separate sides of the game. So if you like Shaper and Haas-Bioroid, this box is a great place to start, and that's why we've built decks out of this box and the core set. And then we just chose a single data pack that had some cards that we liked, and you can find out more about that in the deck list. So,
also worth noting before we dive in, a question we get on some of these videos is, why are we talking about what we're doing?
Yeah, we do get that a lot.
And so one of the points of this video is to really showcase the game and the thinking behind the game and the kind of thinking that goes into decisions being made. So a lot of times when we're playing here, there are things we're going to do that you wouldn't typically do in a game of Netrunner, whether it be Steven telling me why he's installing and advancing an agenda, or why I'm deciding to make a run, or why Steven thinks it's bad that I decided to make a run.
Especially because Netrunner is a game that has a lot to do with hidden information and bluffing. So by revealing kind of what you're doing, you're giving your opponent obviously an advantage that they wouldn't have in a normal game, but we're going to do that anyway because we want to give you the advantage.
And show how much I don't know about Netrunner.
What a marketing pitch. Okay, so starting off, I'm going to shuffle. I've been shuffling decks, which is how we start out. Netrunner does have a Mulligan rule, which means you can basically chuck your entire hand and draw a new one at the start of the game. So both players are going to draw 5 cards, and then you're going to look at those cards and decide if these are cards that you want to continue using. Well, the things that I look for whenever I'm, dealing with an opening hand, the first thing that I have to recognize is who am I playing against, what faction is it, and what are they trying to do? So I know that Zach is playing Kit. Kit has a special ability, she's out of the Creation Control box, has a special ability that changes the first piece of ice that she encounters every turn to a code gate. So this is really important. If you place a lot of your ice on the outside where they're going to be encountered first that are not code gates, and they become code gates, Zach can get through entire servers just by installing one single breaker that can handle a code gate piece of ice. So in my hand, I'm looking for actually a lot of code gates that I can throw in front of my servers so that the first piece of ice Zach encounters is already a code gate, which means that everything that follows is not. So I'm trying to get him to still install all of his different types of icebreakers.
And in that regard, your ability is all Bioroid ice gets +1 strength.
That's right.
So you're an ice deck. They will actually probably be installing ice. I'm obviously, with my ability, looking for a code gate. I like Kit because she has an early tempo advantage. A lot of times Corp install, a turn might be an ice in front of hand, ice in front of deck, gain of money.
Yep.
And the ability for Kit to just guarantee she can get into one of those servers early means cards, I'm going to mulligan by the way because I don't have a code gate breaker, means cards like Maker's Eye that let me see the top 3 of his deck are super aggressive early on.
Yeah.
When normally, as a runner, I would be scared to run into any number of ice.
So I'm looking at this hand. I like this hand. Actually, I'll show you this, Zach. This is a weird one. So
I don't think that's weird. That's great.
It's kind of great.
Money, 2 ice, and a 3-fer.
If you just look at it very basically, then that does look pretty okay. But here are the things that are going through my head. One is these are both CodeGate pieces of ice. So by putting them on my internal server slots here, that's only going to make the ice I install on top of them a CodeGate in terms of kit, right? So I really would rather have seen a non-CodeGate paired with a CodeGate, or even two non-code gates, so that I can kind of adjust my ice accordingly. I also know that I have Celebrity Gift. Even if I end up drawing, I have to mandatory draw. If I play Celebrity Gift on my first turn to get, incredible money, I still am going to be sitting there with one action left, so I can probably install over HQ to protect this Project Wotan, but then my R&D is going to be wide open. And so you can index and Maker's Eye and those kinds of things. So this is a good opening hand, but in this matchup, just to take a look and kind of explain the options, I'm actually going to mulligan and get a new hand. Hope for some non-code gates so that I can start to build some better servers against the old kit, right?
I think that's very fair.
The last thing I want to, and this is the kind of thing about Netrunner, is you're having to respond to the moment, to prevent things from going badly, but you also have to do that in a way that thinks about how is this server going to look in 3 turns, in 4 turns. So, these code gates might protect me for a couple of turns, but then as the heat starts to get ratcheted up, I'm not going to have a very good out against Kit's attack. Now, all of this might not make any sense to you, but keep it in mind
we'll see in a
as
second,
we start playing here. All right, so you did not mulligan?
I did mulligan.
You did mulligan.
And I am rather pleased with the...
And I think the corp decides first.
If they mulligan or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because obviously if you don't mulligan, then...
We're usually just playing for fun.
It's really part of the strategy though, is if the corp doesn't mulligan, they probably have not only a good hand, but probably not very many agendas. So depending on my hand, if he does mulligan, that means right now, right, he could technically have drawn 5 agendas.
Or not.
Or not. And so at this point, with a mulligan, multi-access on the hand might be very valuable.
All right, you ready to start?
I am so ready. I'm actually super happy with this hand for what it's going to show, because we'll get to it in a second when I get to my turn. All right, so gain 5 money, right? That's
Gain
the
5,
standard.
yeah. Start it off.
Get my credits here. Are those CEC? Is that what that is?
CEC, Certified Encrypted Credit, in case you didn't know.
Flavor.
All right, so mandatory draw for the corp is the first thing that happens. And then we have some actions. So
mandatory draw, and then you have 3 clicks, right?
3 clicks, and man, just a million good options. 1 million good options. And have to actually think about them. Isn't that nice?
It is nice.
Okay, so first, let's install here. So we're going to install over R&D. It's my first action. My second action, I'm going to play a hedge fund.
Classic.
3, 4. So I paid 5 and I gained 9, so that nets me 4 credits. And then I'm going to install. No, I'm just going to gain a credit.
Okay.
So 3 actions. So install, play a hedge fund, gain a credit.
All right, so no protection on the hand, and that makes me think either there are no agendas, or you only have 1 piece of ice. So
either one of those is possible, and this is why Netrunner is just phenomenal, right?
among the many reasons.
It's kind of, it's very much like making a call or a bluff in poker. It's the same kind of thing. It's like you have no idea what's in it. It could be 4 agendas, it could be no agendas. But if it's no agendas and you run a couple of times, you just wasted your entire first turn.
But you gain maybe a little information.
Maybe some information. You definitely gain information.
All right,
for sure.
So my first click, I'm going to play test run. Costs 3, and I can search my deck for a program and install it. And then at the end of this turn, it's going to go on the top of my deck.
Wee-haw. Is it going to be a Gordian Blade?
Nope.
It's going to be a Magnum Opus.
This is why I'm excited. This is, with Kit, it's very not how you want to. It feels weird as a runner, because early on in Netrunner, it's like early is kind of the runner's game, so you have the tempo, you want to hit, make him res the ice, spend his money, you want to check the hand. But instead...
You're just looking to get set up.
I'm getting set up. This is the Shaper way. So first click is that, so I install Magnum Opus, and then it has click, gain 2 credits, so I will actually use that 3 times, and then it will go on the top of my deck.
Okay, so played test run, that brought it in, and then you actually used it 3 times, the ability on Magnum Opus, and then because test run, it's the end of the round, or end of the turn, it resolves and goes to the top of the deck. Yep. So you use a test run.
Just a
check
test
it
run,
out. See if it's worth anything.
And we'll see if it is.
All right, mandatory draw. Okay. Well, there's a lot to do here, isn't there?
Some decisions to be made.
First action, I'm going to draw a card.
Okay.
There's that.
Looking for ice. Looking for ice.
Second action, I'm going to install a card. And third action, I'm going to gain a credit.
I love watching the thinking happening. Netrunner is very immersive.
I'm also thinking about a couple of things that I really do want to show while we're here. So take these decisions with a grain of salt.
All right, first click, I'm gonna draw a card.
Yeah.
Shocker, we have the magnum opus. And then second click, I'll install it.
Yeah.
Third and fourth click, I will use to gain 2 credits.
All right, so you'll notice, like this happens a lot in Netrunner. There's moments where you're kind of setting up and getting things ready. There are moments where you're attacking. There are windows that are opening and closing all of the time. So Zach and I are paying close attention to how all of this works. All right, mandatory draw.
And it's, the more you play Netrunner, it's funny. Like even last turn, you drawing on the first click, you installing, you gain a credit. It's like every little decision you make can inform me about something that's going on. And it's the classic game theory. It's like, did he not install the card because he doesn't have the agenda or because he didn't have the ice? And the only way to find out is to run and gun.
These are just all great questions. All right, let's just show this. Install for the first click.
All right, creating a server over there.
Creating a remote server, that's right. Install for the second click. And then there's an action window. Pretty much, we'll get into this a little bit heavier as we move along, but pretty much any time you might want to take a thing on a card that does not have the action symbol or the click symbol, you can do it most of the time that you would consider doing it. So I've installed one, I've installed 2. Now I'm going to simply res this for 1, which you can do.
Oh no, not that thing.
Yeah. And then it has an action on it. Place 1 power count on MCA austerity policy. When the runner's next turn begins, he or she loses a click. Use this ability only once per turn. So I'm going to spend an action, place a power counter on this, and that will trigger Zach losing an action next turn. This card does have an ability on it. I can trash it and spend a click to gain 4 clicks. So it does become very much something that Zach wants to take care of,
Before you get 3 power.
That's right.
Power counters on it. All right, my turn. I only have 3 clicks this round.
You only have 3 clicks.
Because of your, it's cool, that card, it just slows the games down, right?
It's austerity.
You're losing clicks and I'm losing clicks.
Yep.
We're all sharing in the pain. All right, so first click, thinking about life. I'm going to spend my first 2 clicks gaining 4 money from Magnum Opus.
Okay.
So we'll grab
So action 1, Opus. Action 2, Opus.
And action 3 is going to be self-modifying code.
The self-modifying code. Now this is a program that sits here during a run, or really any time, Zach can use it to basically morph it into a program searched from his deck. So that is quite impressive, truly.
Now I'm threatening, right?
That's right.
Because the first ice I encounter is a code gate. And at any point now I can go get a code gate. So you just are aware that at any point I can go and get past a single piece of ice.
It's very, very tough. Okay, let's look at this. What do we want to do? All right, first click. Let's install here.
All right.
Second click.
Smells like Adonis to me.
Use this. You'll lose an action next turn.
All right.
And then third click. You know what? Let's gain a credit. It's that easy. Over to you, Zach.
I don't like it. I don't like the click pressure you're putting on me here.
You just come on in.
Yeah, I have to decide what's worth what here. So technically, next turn you could click to get a third one on there, click to trash it, and gain 4 clicks and have 5 clicks left.
He's got it.
Which could be install, advance 4 times.
Yeah, it's troubling.
Yikes.
And this could be an agenda over here. This could be who knows what. This could be an asset. It could be anything. Like if I think that Zach is going to be overly focused on this, I could literally just install a naked agenda out here and just assume that he's not going to look at it. And then he's got to decide.
Yeah. This is tough. This is actually very, very tough. There's a lot of options here.
So many options. And now other things that Zach could be looking at is like, could attack R&D, force me to res this ice, maybe then I don't have enough money to res this ice. Certainly could hit R&D and then HQ and then here, and if I res all three of these, like that's just not very feasible, probably pretty expensive. So you can take away options from the corp in a lot of different ways by draining their cash.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to get set up. And now you're taking away my clicks.
Classic Shaper.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna do first click is Maker's Eye.
Okay. First of three. This is interesting. I will go ahead and res it.
For 5, uh-oh.
It is a Victor 2.0. It is 6 strength because of Haas-Bioroid Stronger Together's ability. It's +1. It has the Bioroid trait. So 6 strength. It is a code gate. And it says 2 subroutines. Trace 2 if successful, place a power counter on it. And then an in the run subroutine. And then the runner can spend 2 actions to just break through both subroutines.
All right.
So Zach can spend his entire turn to see 3 cards off of R&D. Can install and try to break through it with a Gordian Blade or similar code gate breaker, or could suffer both of the consequences. Give it a power counter and in the run.
Given my cash reserves right now, even going to get something like a Gordian Blade, I wouldn't have enough money to actually break through that.
It's a problem.
So I'm actually going to spend 2 clicks.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
On my turn, and I'll get a look at the top 3 cards of your deck.
All right, so breaks these 2 subroutines using the 2 clicks, which is kind of the whole thing with HB Ice. It's big and scary, but you can always spend time to get through it, which is pretty cool. So technically, it could win the game right here. 3 cards off the top of the deck.
I guess that's true.
Could be a 3-pointer, 2-pointer, 2-pointer.
Or just none. We'll see if I get any.
All right, so first, ha!
Score.
Uh-oh. Only 2 points.
Well, Vitruvius, try again.
Second.
Leaves it there.
Does it have a trash cost? You want to trash it?
No, I'm just going to let it hang out.
All right.
It stays, but I need to read this card.
Take it.
Oh, my word. Okay, cool.
All right. So got 2 points for your trouble. That's not a bad turn, ultimately.
It's hoping for a good 5.
All right, so now we're over to me, huh? Mandatory draw. You know what this card is. Oh, hello.
Yes. Would you like to have some capital gains today?
All right. Let's see. Man, so many great options here.
Why don't you stop taking my clicks away?
I know, right? Let me reverse that, actually. Here, we need to do this because this happens all the time. So before your mandatory draw, it's always good to think, do I have any before the turn begins?
Like an Adonis campaign.
Things that I want to trigger.
Or an Eve campaign.
I'll go ahead and pay the res
there
cost
he
here.
is.
It's an Adonis campaign. You will do this all the time when you're starting out playing. I like to put just little power counters on here.
So he's a 4 res cost. At the start of the turn, you get 3 money off.
You get 3 out. So that's going to happen 4 times until it goes away. So I just put 4 counters here. My turn begins. I gain 3 credits. Yay! Money. And now this is going to sit here as I can come over here and trash it. I can protect it with ice or continue to trickle down. Then I will have that mandatory draw I've got to deal with here.
It's a very good exchange. You've basically spent 1 at this point, and for me to deal with it, I have to spend a click and 3. It's rough.
Okay, let's see how to go about this. I feel like there's some really good lines of play here. I can get 4 clicks by spending 2 clicks. That would leave me with a 5-click turn if I wanted it.
That could score most agendas.
That's a pretty good one there.
But that would also take away a lot of your... If you score a 4 advanced agenda here, you have 1 money.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That leaves me some opportunities.
That's a lot of too many opportunities if you ask me. And I don't want to kind of leave this here and just let you freak out about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play this hedge fund.
Okay, now you got money.
So that's going to gain me 4 credits. I'll trade in a 5 for 1 there. Second click, I'm going to give you a -1. Third click, I'm going to trash this and 3 hosted power counters to gain 4 credits.
4 clicks.
I'm sorry, 4 clicks, correct.
Way better than 4 credits.
So now I have 4 clicks.
All right.
So I'm going to install for my first. Second, third, and fourth are going to be spent on advancements.
You gonna tie this ball game up?
I'll go ahead and score that, and it is a Vitruvius. Right back at you, buddy. And now Vitruvius has some special text, and remember, corps get to activate any special text on their agendas, whereas runners do not whenever they seal it. When you score it, you place 1 agenda count on it for each advancement over 3. So technically, if I had had 4 or 5 advancement tokens on it, I would put power counters on here, or agenda counters. Then I can remove them to add a card from archives back to my hand. So things that you can do with that are like, if I overscore this, I can add this austerity policy that I just used back to my hand and just start the whole chain all over again, which can be absolutely brutal.
Especially in the later part of the game. All right.
And it's over to you.
My turn?
Yeah.
That's all you got?
That's it. That's it.
3 clicks, eh? First click, I'll draw a card. Okay. Second and third click, I will gain 2 money.
Boom. All right, so this is good. So Adonis is going to tick off again. Now you'll notice one of the things that I didn't want to do, I could have put the Vitruvius down and overscored it by 1 and had an agenda count on it, but then I'd be so low on money that I worry about Zach attacking HQ. If I have good stuff in here, I want to make sure that the ice that I have on the board, I always can threaten to res it, and so there's never like a free pass for Zach to attack my servers.
Because if you give those 3 passes, who knows, right? I may have a card that lets me access 3 cards from
a
your
lot of
hand
advantage
or whatever.
Okay, so my turn begins. I read the Adonis campaign text there. It gets me 3 credits, so that's nice. And then I mandatory draw my first card. Okay.
Do I get my first 4-click turn in 12 turns?
I think you might. You just might. First action, I'm going to draw a card. All right. Oof, I love this. Second action. Ooh, so good. So good. Let's try this. Let's get ready to party, shall we? Second action.
Like, what are you doing here?
I'm going to install here.
Okay.
And then third action, I'm going to gain a credit.
Mine?
Yep. So you'll notice I've got 2 remote servers now. And because there's nothing in the root of this, this is still considered a remote server. So ice creates a remote, or something in the root creates a remote. Either way, I can either do it with the ice or with this Adonis campaign last turn. And this is down, I can start icing it up as normal. So I can play as I like in that respect.
All right. My turn. I will spend 4 clicks and gain 8 money.
More money. So Zach is building up for a terrifying turn. And a lot of times you can do that as the runner if the corp isn't putting pressure on your credit pool, right? So I haven't installed anything that could be an agenda, so he can kind of sit back here, gain cash as long as he wants to, which is a real bummer.
It's a bummer, man.
I mean, seeing a runner on this many credits is terrifying, right?
And it's really cool. Kit, the versatility is, early on, if you already have the code gatebreaker, you can kind of start going for the jugular, and then you can also just play the Shaper game, which is,
right.
Now I'm building. I have money. I can literally go get any program I want. So prepare for the worst.
I'm prepared. Start my turn. Comes over to me. I'll gain 3 clicks, or 3 credits, sorry. And then I wish I did.
Quite the card.
And then I'll get a card here. All right, well, let's see what, we can always look at ice as the corp. You can always check this ice out. And this is good, and this is great. Okay. How do I want to go about doing this, though? First, I will draw. That's my first action. Second, I will install here. So right. Zach knows that because there can only be 1 asset or agenda in a server, this must be an upgrade. And upgrades just sit right here next to this card in the server. You can install as many upgrades as you want. And last, let's install...
You're building your score server over there.
This for 1.
He is really building a score server. That makes me think you got some
if we're just going to sit here and build, you know, let's just build on.
We can build a really better world here. All right, my turn?
Go ahead, yeah.
Let's do this. First click, same old thing.
Okay, so just installing a resource.
Second and third click, I will use same old thing and trash it to play Maker's Eye.
Ooh, a new Maker's Eye.
So...
Looks like we're about to get some breaking happening.
We're gonna roll in here. I'm gonna trigger self-modifying code. So I'm gonna pay 2 credits, trash it, search my deck for a program, and install it, paying the costs.
Yeah, you'll notice what's happening here is there's actually, so the run is initiated, right? So this has happened. Maker's Eye has triggered a run. Before you encounter this piece of ice, there is the opportunity to use actions, and there's a window where you can use any of the abilities that you have on your cards. So if you see things like even Gordian Blades, these 1 credit abilities, self-modifying code, that 2 credit trash ability, as long as it doesn't have the action symbol, it can be used in a wide number of situations. So in this particular instance, just kind of think of action windows opening up between important moments during a run. That's really kind of how it works. You paid 4 for that, right?
I did, paid 4.
Correct?
So then you're at 6 strength because of your
strength,
ID?
And it is a code gate, which it already was.
So I will pay 4 to get to strength.
All right, so you can pay 1 to get +1 strength. So you bump it up. So now you're 6, which means you can interact with this piece of ice.
And then I will pay 2 to break both subroutines.
All right, so look at all that money just disappear.
It's gone.
And now Zach gets to see 3 cards again.
Could be the game.
Could be the end of the game.
That'd be so funny if it was.
I mean, this happens, right? It happens all the time. This is why playing Corporation is kind of a clenched fist kind of moment, right? So I expect at least one agenda to happen here. Maybe not, though. What do you think? You want to trash that?
I don't know.
I saw him look at his credit pool. I think there's a... Remember, the Corp does not get to see or understand these cards. I mean, you can understand them. It's a weird way to put that, but...
I will leave it.
Okay.
I don't want to, but I'm going to.
Make sure that the card that you have here is the one that ends up back on top.
Yeah,
that's critical,
important.
Right?
That also stays? Come on.
Oh, does it? Sounds like a strikeout to old Steven here.
Yeah, you're good. Once I go back.
But again, this is a weakness right here, right? So Zach can easily get into R&D. It can even click twice to do it. So I'm basically risking that it won't pay off. Which
Last
luckily
click,
it didn't.
I will gain 2 money.
All right, back to the money. So used Magnum Opus there. All right, starting my turn. Gain 3. Whenever there are no credits left, we trash Adonis Campaign. Okay, that's good to know. And now we have to make some decisions. We have a mandatory draw, of course, to start things off.
I see that card.
Yeah. Whew. Man, that's tough.
It's tough, yeah.
That is tough. Well, let's show some pressure. I think that's probably the best thing to do. There's a little bit of math involved here. Oof, 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 oof. I love all of this. I truly do. I just do. Okay. I don't know. Will you come after this? That's the question that I'm asking.
It's a good question.
First click, I will install there. I'll go ahead and pay 1 to res it. Second click, I will use it so that you lose a click on your next turn. And then third will be getting a credit. Over to you, Zach.
All right, X-Wing players.
You got 3 actions.
All right, so first click, we'll gain 2 money. Second click, we will run HQ. I feel like this is a pop-up window, but we're guessing.
Just an HQ run. What's it worth, ultimately? And this is...
You're about to reveal to me what it's worth.
I absolutely love this part of the game. So let's just take a second and actually look at this. It's very tempting with this amount of money and potentially losing something out of my hand, just potentially, that I might want to try to protect this, right? And I have the opportunity to do that. But it's also, spoiler alert, a 25% chance that Zach scores here, right? So I've got a 1 in 4 shot of him just whipping. That's 75% of the time, this is going to be worth nothing.
But the swing that happens when I hit, because...
It's big.
Yeah.
It's big, but it's...
Because you have seemingly a score server you're setting up.
I think I can get it going next turn if it's just whiff city.
Yeah.
So your first action is 2. Your second action is run. Now, if Zach doesn't know that I have an agenda in hand and I just, casually play this off, I won't res. And he pulls nothing. What's the likelihood of him coming back in? It's pretty low, ultimately, pretty low. Let's do it. No res.
Oh, man. I'm feeling lucky tonight.
Sometimes in Netrunner, you just, it's about risk, right? And you have to know, when you're playing Corp right now, you have to not be gutted whenever he pulls the agenda, right? You have to say there was a 75% chance it happened. How do I play out of the situation that I'm in currently? That's really what we're dealing with. Or it could be nothing. It could be absolutely nothing.
All right.
We'll see.
This one. Got it.
But it's fine. We'll play out of that.
All right.
We'll play out of that. That's
just
not a big
casual
deal.
3 points. Ouch, City. That is incredible.
It's good. It's really good.
Well, next click. So it is what I thought it was, which is you have a score server setting up. That upgrade is, if I were guessing from my limited knowledge of Netrunner, something like Ash or something
to
from
protect the agenda,
it.
yeah.
And so I got the agenda. Now I'm feeling very cozy. I'm ahead on points. I'm not, given you didn't res, if you have more than one agenda in your hand, I would be shocked. And maybe you do. Maybe you're just feigning.
That would be an incredible bluff, right?
You're bluffing. But I have 1 click left, so you also haven't used my ability yet. This is the other part of you not resing. So now I'm going to spend my last click and run here.
That's correct. All right, well, we're just going to make you spend some money.
All right, so it's 4 strength because it's a Bioroid. I have no clicks left. So I'll have to pay 2, and then I'll pay 2 to break both subroutines, so that's 4.
All right, so you're going to interact and go for it?
Yep.
All right, so paying 2 to get +2 strength to Gordian, so it goes to 4 strength. This is a 4 strength because of my ID. So 4 to 4, you can interact with it. There are 2 subroutines. You're breaking brain damage and in the run. All right, which means you continue here. Do you want to access this card?
I do.
All right, so 3 to trash.
And I will do just that.
All right, boom,
Where did
it's
all
gone.
my money go?
It's all gone. And that's where a turn like this, if you hadn't pulled that agenda, now looks great because Zach's on 4 credits. I've got all the money in the world and I can probably score that out next turn. So mandatory draw.
Are your hands feeling itchy?
First action is draw.
You see what I got with that Maker's Eye? It was 2 of those austerities and
That's so good.
itchy. It's like, this is awful.
Second action, ooh, I like this. Second action is draw. Sometimes you just need the cards. Third action, let's install here. Yeah, let's install here for 1. So we're gonna try to cover up this weakness that has been exploited a couple of times already.
Okay, mine.
All yours?
I will spend 3 clicks to gain 8 money.
You have it another click too.
I mean, 4 clicks to gain 8 money. Yeah,
You're
I'm
just used to saying that.
Used to saying 3 at this
Austerity
point.
is hard, man.
Yeah.
All right, mandatory
Life
draw.
is hard. And another thing too about the general tempo of this game. So I'm at 5 points. At any point, if I hit a 2-point agenda, I just win the game. And so I'm honestly just in a position now where I need to make sure if Steven puts an agenda down, I can go get it. And I give myself opportunities to keep making sure I can always get in while randomly getting to poke for agendas. So checking the top card of deck or checking his hand occasionally. But as long as I'm staying ahead, and that's why I love Magnum Opus and Kit.
It's so good.
If I'm staying ahead on this curve, it's going to be very hard for him to wiggle his way out. But he does have things like Biotic Labor and random cards that are going to give him extra clicks to force through agendas.
Trying to get wiggling here. All right, first action, I'm going to draw a card. Second action, I'm going to install... Ooh, man, there's a lot of good options here. Second action, I'm going to install here. And then third action, I'm going to install here.
All right. So that's suspicious. Could also just be a tricky Adonis. You have 11 money, eh?
11 money. That's right.
I kind of want to apply some pressure.
And it's worth noting with Kit, because these code gates are basically at the top of every server, you can get in really well early. So it becomes tough. Like the way that I stack my ice has got to be correct. You've got to have the ice come down the right way, and you've got to put it in a way that sets you up for the future, where I need Zach to have to install another breaker right now. Otherwise, he can just really dominate my, my board here. Can I make that happen? That's the question.
Oh man, the thing about Netrunner that is both great and painful is just the options.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's like solving a puzzle, but it's more like a logic puzzle than like a crossword.
I mean, the winning agenda could be here, 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 or here.
This is correct.
For you.
And I could probably get into any of them.
Yep.
If I really wanted it. Especially given that a lot of your ice is click-based. Like if my first click is just go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Again, I mean, the trick for me is like, I'm in a kind of winning position. Like I'm ahead, so.
Yeah, you're controlling it, right? So we talk about this a lot, how early game, like early, as the corpse defense are getting set up, the runner has some good opportunities to get in, right? So like the opportunity on HQ and pulling that three-pointer was huge, and that's what the runner needs to be doing. You need to be going in and getting to this place by mid-game, because if things start to turn, where it's like now you need to search for breakers and you're trying to get your rig set up, now I have options to start to score, yeah.
Oh man, this is painful. I'm gonna need a second to process.
Could be somewhere, you know, just pay a bunch of money to see one card off the top of R&D.
That's not how I
That could
roll.
be the end of the game. Another Maker's Eye and indexing.
Maker's Eye would be money in the bank here.
Or just keep building.
Well, you only have 11 money, right? So even if you have a 3 advance card in one of those two servers, you're looking at, you only have 8 money to spend.
That's right.
So if I, as an example, run here, if these are ice that cost any amount of money, it gets interesting.
It's a problem.
If you have to res.
That's right.
And then.
Unless it's like a cheap code gate and a cheap anything else, then you're stuck.
Then I'm very stuck. So I think what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm just going to go for it. How about that? I'm going to take 1 click to gain 2 money.
All right, magnum opus.
Second click is same old thing. Third click is same old thing for my third Maker's Eye.
Uh-oh.
For 2. So
this is a huge problem.
We're going to the deck. There's an agenda on that top 3 and I can get in. I'm swinging for the fences here.
All right, well, let's just see what happens. We've got an Ichi. Has 5 strength and is a code gate. So,
Double
5 strength code gate.
So yeah, I'll pay 3, and he has 3 subroutines. So I'll pay 3 to get to strength.
Now, important to note, like, you don't have to break all the subroutines on a piece of ice. That's really critical for Netrunner. So 3 to get to 5 strength there.
And then I'll pay 2 to break, or 3 to break. Yeah, and if that wasn't trash a program, like if it were like give a tag, then I could just
trash that Gordian
I could
blade.
just be like, I'll take the tags because it doesn't matter.
Now, important thing to note, pay attention to your icebreakers. So Gordian Blade, you get that strength for the remainder of the run, which is critical. So stacking code gates like Kit, like having to put this down early is awful against
I'm going to put these here just so we remember.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have 2 subroutines remaining if you'd like. You can give me a power counter for brain damage, and then I assume you want to break the end of the run. So it's just going to cost you 1 or 2.
I'll go ahead and pay 1 to get to strength.
Okay.
And then I will pay 2 to break both subroutines. It's the end of my turn, so
that's right.
I don't want to take any risk.
All right.
And we'll see. Swinging for the fence here.
Let's see odds here. So let's actually look at this. We've got 3 agendas out. We've got 3, 4, 5, 7 points out.
And you know where agendas aren't over here.
Gone through a decent bit of the deck. I would say you've got a really good shot here.
I don't know the math at all, but I would put it in like the 60 to 70% range.
Yeah, it's a good shot here.
Nope. Now, odds are going down. It's like in poker, every time a card gets revealed, like the guy with the pocket aces goes down.
It's so hard to not look at these on my end too. All right, next card.
Stays there.
Really?
Odds are getting worse all the time.
So one card left. Could be the game. It doesn't look like it is.
Stays there. Game is not over. I thought I had you. Now we're gonna have to rebuild.
Oh, that is so tough.
But I did, regardless, one of the main runner strategies here is I did force you to spend money.
That's right.
So even if you do have a 3 advancement there, now you're gonna be down to 3 money.
Don't want that. Nobody wants that. All right.
Mandatory draw?
Mandatory draw.
Which I've seen.
That's right. Before I do that mandatory draw, let's just reverse it and ask, do I have any start of turn actions?
Yeah.
I swear you'll do that. You guys will do it.
All those ad campaigns.
Got ads everywhere. So, you know, one of the things about installing Adonis here, Zach could have thought, hey, he's being cheeky and going to sneak out an agenda here where I would least put an agenda.
That's absolutely the thing I would do, by the way.
And that's exactly what happens a lot of the time. But instead, it's going to give me money. So there are ways to play Netrunner like this that are about, if Zach does the thing that I want him to do, like check this and, you know, like waste a bunch of money getting into the server, seeing it's an Adonis and him being like, oh, I can pay 3 and it costs me a single action. That's great for me. If he doesn't, then I get to res it and use it. That's great for me too. So you're looking for ways that you can make everything essentially great for you. That's number 1 rule of Netrunner. All right, mandatory draw there.
And you didn't already mandatory draw?
No, I did not. I put it back, yeah. Just to scare you. You know what it is too. I can show it to you.
I know the top 3 cards, so once you get past that is when it gets more interesting.
That's right, yeah. So I've got to worry about potentially another Maker's Eye. So I don't really want to draw deeper into this deck. But I also am going to. So first action, I'm going to draw.
I've seen that.
Second and third action, I'm going to play Celebrity Gift, right?
Oh my.
So I'm going to pay 3. And the reason that I wanted to draw there, Celebrity Gift says, first of all, it's 2 clicks to play, so it's an additional action. Reveal up to 5 cards from HQ and get 2 for every card revealed. I want to reveal 5 and get 10 out of this. Pretty much always want to do that. But now I have 6 cards, so I know that there's going to be an unseen card that Zach could think, well, he's hiding the agenda from me and not showing it to me. So I know that you've seen these 2, so I want to show you those. I also want to show you this.
All right.
This. And this.
When you don't have kit to turn Rototurret into a code gate, Rototurret is a problem.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. All right, noted.
All right, so you see all of those. So you get information, but I get 10 in cold hard cash.
A fat stack.
So I'm back in the money. And it's over to you.
All right, first click, I'm gonna draw a card.
Now, if you could hit another Maker's Eye, that's possible, I guess, given the cash. Just depends.
Then I will spend 3 clicks and gain 6 money.
All right, so just the money there. Oh, wait, I think I owed you a card, yeah, because I had 6 in hand. So let me trash one there. That should have happened at the end of my last turn. Let me go to you.
Cheater.
Sorry.
DQ.
All right,
out of here.
Start of the turn. I will gain 3 money.
He's rich.
Mandatory draw. Now, note, we are now at a fresh R&D that Zach has not seen. So we've moved through the 3 cards that he saw from Maker's Eye. So now we're into point zones, and that's terrifying. All right, let's see what we might want to do. Okay, now we're gonna get frisky here. That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna get super frisky. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to install this here.
So you're gonna overwrite?
I can always install over any amount of server in the ice.
That's
or
very
any amount of ice
interesting.
in the server.
So you could have paid 1 to install it out here, but you wanted it at the root apparently.
Here's what I wanted. I'm gonna pay 1 for restore, and it says install and res 1 card from archives, paying all costs. So I'm gonna install it here, which cost me 2.
Still a code gate.
And I'm gonna res it, which cost me 3. Paid. And then remove all other copies of that card from the game. And there are no other copies there. So the reason I want to do that is I want this piece of ice to be a sentry. So by installing a code gate over the top here, that's going to soak up Kit's ability, which means that this is now a proper sentry. So Zach has no way of breaking it currently, which means it can do some serious havoc. So that's the first thing I wanted to do. So install over here, get that in the trash, restore it so that it now is at the top of this server.
Yikes.
And then for the last thing, I don't really want to draw a card here because that could put an agenda here. And then Zach could attack here, and I know that's going to turn into a code gate. So I'm simply going to gain 1 money. So I'm at 10 credits, and it's over to you, Zach. Feel pretty safe about R&D. I mean, it's possible to get in there, but hopefully harder and harder as the game goes on.
Draw a card.
First action, draw a card. The freedom of Netrunner, you can always draw.
Gain 6.
Gaining 6, all right.
3 clicks.
So gain 3 money for Adonis campaign at the start of my turn. I'm going to cash out these 4 or 5 credits. And then a mandatory draw. Interesting. First action, I will play green level clearance. Costs 1. I gain 3 credits and draw a card.
After this game's over, I want to talk to you about that move that you made, which was great.
Which move?
The one where you put this ice out here.
You like it?
Yep.
Did it foil all of your plans? Are you going to index or Maker's Eye again?
It certainly would have been painful for you. You got agenda sitting in that hand? Should I be coming to town?
I don't know. You know, that's a very good question.
Something I'm going to have to keep asking.
That is my hope. Let's see, I've got a second action. I'm just gonna look through here. I can look through this at any time. This is a face down. Zach doesn't know what that is, but he can make some guesses probably. Yep. Second action, I'm going to draw a card. And third action, I'm going to steal a click, and then I owe you 1 card. And it's going to be, let's do this one. And it's over to you. You've got 3 actions, my friend.
Gain 6.
And he gains the cash. All right. Well, now we know. All right. Drawing my card.
This is tough. This is
And I get my 3 from Adonis.
my favorite part of Netrunner, which is the moment where I know what I need to accomplish, which is 2 more points. And now I have to solve how to do that. And there's a lot of ways to make this happen.
It's so weird. Okay.
What to do? Is my stack of cash scaring you?
It's pretty rough. It's terrifying.
Knowing I
yes.
can pretty much get in anywhere at any point.
Yeah.
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 I like it. If you have a point in your hand, blank.
All right. Well, let's do this the old-fashioned way. What do you think?
All right. The old biotics.
Yep. First action, I'll install. I'll play a biotic labor.
Okay. 4 money.
Get some more cash, which puts me back up to 3 actions. And I'll advance this 3 times.
We have a score. So we're at 4 to 5.
4 to 5.
The score is getting close, but this time I have 4 clicks.
You've got 4 clicks.
How about that?
Real clicks.
I will spend all 4 clicks to gain 8 money.
He's got more money. Mandatory draw. Adonis is gone. All right, so let's think about how this money situation is going to work out. I kind of like this austerity policy going on. How interesting. I need just a little bit more money. Isn't it amazing how that always happens?
That's great.
Just a little bit more.
Just a pinch.
Just a little bit more. What's so wrong about that?
You got agendas on hand? I think you do.
I might have one.
What are my odds? 1 in 5? I can do that.
I mean, I got one out, right? So that was my hope. Well, oh, I love how hard this is. This game is ridiculous.
I've been over here doing math, trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do
this
here.
This game is ridiculous.
I think you're going to like, I'm curious what you're planning here. You got tools?
I do have tools.
Netrunner's hard.
It's
in the best way.
It's so ridiculous. Oh man, you get stuck on like just a little, like 1 credit short, and you're trying to figure out how you can make it work.
I also, in Netrunner, a lot of times we'll get stuck on a plan.
Yeah.
Which can be bad.
That happens too. That definitely happens. Okay, well, I think we're gonna have to do it this way, unfortunately. That's good and fine. This is good and fine. And I can bring you down to 3 clicks, which is nice. I can try to bluff something.
So what are you thinking of this? Like,
okay, so the things that are going through my head is I have 1 agenda in my hand. That would be the end of the game, obviously. So Zach has seen a lot of agendas come through. You whiffed a couple of times on Maker's Eye. So the likelihood of me having drawn into at least 1 agenda is reasonable. So that's not terribly surprising.
Sure.
I have a survey here that I can try to stick that agenda into. I'd have to overwrite the austerity policy, which I don't want to do. What I'm really wanting to do is let this tick out so that I can trash it and then score this agenda from my hand. But my hand is actually one of the unsafest places right now.
Single piece of ice that will turn into a code gate.
That will turn into a code gate.
At will.
I have ice in my hand, but any ice that I install over the top of this puts me 1 credit short of resing both of these pieces of ice, right? So now it's like, well, I can't do that. I could also try to hide the agenda here. Just hope that he doesn't check it, assumes it's another Adonis campaign, another upgrade.
But if it's not a 3 advancement agenda.
Called a red herring, it would just sit there.
Then it's not.
So that might be a little confusing, right? Other things that I could do is I could like install over the top here, then set the agenda here. And then if you do take it, then this turns into a non-code gate. So now Zach has to do something, you know, solve that problem.
Install something.
He can install an SMC right now without overriding one of his programs, so self-modifying code. So don't know about that.
Also worth noting, I've only seen 9 of my cards.
That's right. You've been playing. A kit does this though.
Yeah.
As long as you have Gordian, money, and that ability, you can really have a strong early game. So I'm like kind of suffering from those consequences. I can also draw a card, and then I have 2 actions. If it's a piece of ice that is less expensive than anything I have in my hand, I can install it over HQ and be relatively safe.
You also could do the old corp trick, which is hide the agenda in the archives.
I could just throw it over there in the trash
it's
pile.
like obviously the game can't be in the discard pile.
Which is terrifying, right?
But I've attempted that before. I don't know that I've ever succeeded at doing that.
And I really do see this. I feel like is a good condition to move forward. I kind of want to keep this running. 3 actions makes all my Bioroid ice 1,000 times better, especially things that require.
I love that card.
It's so
I think that
good,
is a great,
right?
great card that was made. Meantime, I've got a plan all my own.
And who knows what that is?
I do.
I'm terrified of it.
I'm excited. Seal Shaper way.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's just try this. I mean, you might call it out, and that's fine. You might call it out.
Do all of it. Install a card here, install an ice here, and discard a card.
Just
I don't know which one it is.
Okay. Well, let's just. I'm just terrified, Zach, of all of this.
The turn in which I hit the 3-pointer from hand.
That's a big deal. This is where you have to kind of recover from that.
The tempo swing is massive there. Because if I'm not on 5 right now, my past like 6 turns have to be way different than they were. But instead, I got to play with the lead. It's like the old fourth quarter drill when you're ahead in football.
That's right.
You just run the clock down.
All right, let's see what happens here.
All right.
I'll explain this decision here shortly, but that's going to take me to 9.
Cost 10 credits.
Yeah, 10 credits to install. Install here.
Oh man, are you triggering me?
And then I will take an action to give you -1 actions.
All right, mine.
All you.
First click. Femme fatale. So I'm gonna pay 9. She was like, "What is happening?" Here's the trick, though. Again, because I can make the first thing code gate, and because Femme, I guess I get to put a token on one of your ice, and I can just bypass it by paying X credits. X is equal to the number of subroutines. I can get it anywhere.
Yep.
I really can. I am actually going to. I think this is the cheapest way to do this. I'm gonna put it here.
Okay. Seems reasonable.
2 clicks
So
left.
you're just gonna and this is the thing that you can do, especially when you have the advantage as you do, is like, we know there's no amount of bluffing that can hide the fact that there are agendas in this stack right here, right? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I can play all the mind games I want, but this is guaranteed to have agendas in it. So
right.
you can just focus there until I'm on like game point, which
right.
you might want to do, which
All right.
you might be doing right now.
So second click, I'm gonna play indexing.
Boom.
So this is gonna let me make a run. If I make a successful run in R&D, I get like the top 5 and organize them how I want. So part of why I was building money this whole time is that I knew
the game-winning play.
If I could get in twice,
Yeah.
I can C5. If there's an agenda, put it on top, go back in, and get it. But to get in twice, I had to be able to install Femme and pay a lot of money twice.
That's crazy. This is going to be nuts. All right, so show me what you got.
All right.
4 strength, code gate, brain damage, and in the run.
Pay 2 with Gordian.
Okay.
And then I will pay 2 to break.
Break, brain damage, and in the run.
Yep.
Okay. You then encounter, you can pay 3
So I'll pay 3
to
with
bypass
Femme.
it.
To bypass?
Okay, that's Femme's ability there. Then we have Victor 2. It's a 6 strength code gate. You're currently at 4 strength on your Gordian blade.
So I'll pay 2.
Paying 2, and there are 2 subroutines. You can either let the trace run for a power counter for brain damage, or you can break the in the run. You're probably going to break the in the run.
Does that power counter, you have to spend a click to do that?
No, I can use it at any time. Yeah.
I'll pay 2.
All right, so it pays 2 to get through there. So now we get indexing, and this means you look at the top 5 cards and can organize them in any way. So the presumption here, if there is an agenda in the top 5 cards, which is likely, this game is over.
All right, let's see here.
Is there an agenda?
Yes, but I have to prove my math here.
Prove it.
All right, so we'll put these back on top. And I have 1 click left, and now I've done the math, and this is, if I was off, this would have been bad.
It'd be great. Well, you can always take the brain damage.
That's the idea.
You have the safety button.
Until the last turn, I was thinking as I was like, do I want to click for credits? The reality was I knew I'd be 1 off, but that I could take 1 brain damage. That's why I have 1 card.
Yeah.
So the math is perfect. So we'll run here.
All right, 4 strength code gate.
So we'll pay 2.
All right, you get up to strength.
And then we will break 2 subroutines with 2 money.
Breaking 2 subroutines.
Okay. Then we will. Is my math off?
It's so wrong.
Is it off? Get out of here. Hold on. Let me think about it before I continue down this track.
I think first of all, you probably have to take this brain damage.
So wait.
I paid 2. Take both brain damage and
here's
lose.
2. And no, I can just jack out if I want.
Honestly, what you probably end up doing is like.
Well, let me do the math. So wait, this is if I pay 4 ultimately here.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to pay 2 to get strength and 2 to break it, right? Then you got to pay 3 to bypass this.
Then I have 2 left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could get to strength.
But nothing else.
But I could, instead of breaking here, I'm out of clicks.
You could take a brain damage and in the run.
Okay, actually, I already did the pay 2 and break 2 here.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna jack out.
Oh yeah? You can just take all that back. I don't care. If you don't want to make that run.
As my last click, I'll organize it how I organize it. This is still. ultimately okay.
This happens, I can't tell you, this happens a decent amount of time.
For some reason,
in Netrunner.
I thought I had the right math to get in.
You may have at some point, but
let me do 4.
Gordian actually makes it really hard because the strength stays for the run. So like in my head, I was thinking, oh, well, Gordian is going to be 4 strength, which gets you through both of these pieces of ice. But this being at 6, like this ability on Stronger Together is paying dividends in terms of cash.
So last click instead, I'll just gain 2 money.
All right, well, at least you'll know that an agenda is coming in to my hand, I
yeah.
assume. So that's super lucky. That worked out for old Steven there.
I thought I had you.
Oh, yeah, you did. Ugh. Boy, HQ's about to get run through. All right.
Yeah, you know what's coming.
I don't know that there's anything I can do about that except cross my fingers. Okay, so let's do this. First action, we're going to spin this so you get 3 clicks. Second action, let's trash this and spend a click to gain 4.
Okay.
So I spent 2 and I gained 4.
Now you're 5.
Which leaves me with 5 clicks total.
I can't believe math was so off.
I know, right? Embarrassing in a video too. You'll get comments about this for the rest of time now.
That's fine.
But I think it's a really important part of Netrunner to show because I can't tell you how many times that has happened.
That's how you just get
in a real game.
In a
That has
tournament.
happened in tournaments for me.
Yeah.
So 4 actions, advance this 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
It is a CFC excavation contract. I gain 2 credits for each rezzed Bioroid ice. So Bioroid, Bioroid, Bioroid. So I'm going to gain 6 credits.
You have 1 click left.
Isn't that nice? I have 1 click left.
And I know there's a 3-fer in the hand. Now I do only have 3 clicks.
You
and
do
if
only
there's
have
only 1
3.
agenda in there, if there's 2 agendas in there, my odds are pretty good, obviously.
This is ridiculous. I'm scared of the consequences. All right, dude. Let me make sure I want to do this. I'm not committing to that.
I'm just thinking about it.
I'm not committing to that at all. Yep. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. 'Cause I've got to do it. Go ahead.
My turn?
Yep.
First 3 clicks. Gain 6.
Just gaining money.
4th click. Oh wait, I'm not gonna gain 6 because I only have 3 clicks. Card, I'm gonna gain 4 credits with 2 clicks.
That's right.
And then I'm gonna run R&D.
R&D? Mm-hmm. This one? Mm-hmm. Was there 2 agendas?
Oh yeah.
We don't need to do the math on that, right? You got it, yeah?
It cost me 3 to strength. We'll just run it through. 3 to
what
strength.
A parachute.
Look
Look at this golden parachute on this guy.
3 to strength, 2 to break.
We brought down the financial system, but it will take a couple million on the way
3
out.
to bypass. 1 more to strength. 2 more to break. Access
Or 2
the top
more to
card.
strength.
Yeah. I'm just
not
kidding.
agenda.
Score it. 7
Nicely done,
points.
man.
Very good game.
Well done.
I actually, honestly, the fortunate pull of the 1 and 4 on the 3 agenda.
That's the runner life, though. You actually saw that. We saw the reverse of that, which is funny, on the learn to play, the how to play.
Yeah.
Where you told me after the game, like, there was a ton of agendas that I was just missing. Sometimes, though, and the odds on this are remarkable. If you're the corporation and you have 1 agenda in your hand, the odds of the runner getting it are always about 70%. Like, regardless of the actual math.
But if you have 3 out of 5
if you have 3 out of 5,
they're never going to hit them.
All right, so there it is. So a couple of things probably worth noting. We saw, first of all, how Femme Fatale works. That's an important ability to understand. It does the, totally skip a piece of ice on encounter. Kind of some weird ways that can interact with ice is if you have ice that has an encounter ability, the active player gets to decide the order in which those conflicting abilities resolve. So if Femme has when you install it, you choose a thing. When you encounter the ice, do a thing. And then if I had an ice like Toll Booth that says when you encounter Toll Booth, do a thing, Femme's ability can trigger before the Toll Booth ability hits, which is important, yeah. So that's important. Another thing is we saw some agendas come out, how that all works. You saw a lot of what is often known as fast advancing, or I know there's a lot of different ways to explain this, but it's a way of scoring agendas that don't have them in a server before they are actually scored.
Which is part of why you didn't see any ice resed over here.
That's right.
Because you're never like install advancing
right.
and making me go try to get it.
I had cards like Biotic Labor that were giving me extra actions. I had cards like the Austerity Policy that were giving me extra actions. Now we would have seen it here because I did have an agenda here. And so the way that works, if Zach had run that, we have a rototurret that soaks the code gate ability of Kit. So this becomes a code gate and a sentry. You can break it however you want. And then this wall of static is a barrier.
Which I didn't have a breaker
so now
for.
Zach doesn't have a barrier breaker, it ends the run, and this can safely start to hopefully be advanced. I have one turn to advance it once, and then hopefully you do nothing, and then I can advance it 3 more times.
Or if you like draw a Biotic Labor.
Or if I drew a Biotic Labor, yeah, which you would have seen if that was happening.
Know. When I miscounted the money, I was happy that I had decided to put both agendas on top. Because I almost was like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll get the thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't do that.
And then we also, you'll notice that this was not the Project Wotan. I kept that in my hand. I had this floating for a little while in my hand. So I wanted you to think that I put the Wotan down, knowing that you couldn't get in here, and then you wouldn't come into HQ. What I did not anticipate, of course, was 2 agendas off of the indexing, which makes sense. I mean, that's not unusual at all.
And now, the other thing too, the turn you made, the move you made, so I had been, like, for a turn, I was like, I took credits and was ready to index, run, and go get my last points if you hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Because these were effectively both code gates, and the math was way easier, right? Because I didn't need to install FIM for 9. All I needed to do was run here, run the second time, click through the trash programs, and go get my points.
Yeah.
But the turn I was ready to go, and this happens all the time in Netrunner.
Just noticed it, right?
The turn I was like actually ready to execute the plan, you do your maneuvers, get this ice out in front, and now it's a whole new problem.
That was a bit of a Hail Mary too, because like without that restore, I really didn't have a piece of ice to throw out there. And I was thinking, I've got to cover this up somehow. And then it's like, well, the only way to get ice in my archives is to install over it. And so that's where
that's a clever play.
Right, like that's a good, so the thing that you'll notice and find about Netrunner, especially whenever you start really playing well, is that it's hard to find situations where you truly have no outs, where you don't have an option to accomplish the thing. Sometimes you have to be really weird about it, but it is almost always possible to accomplish. So I think we've shown off HB and Shaper. This is the way that Netrunner works. Like a lot of times you'll find games where R&D is getting attacked really heavily the whole game, and that's the way that somebody wins. If I'm playing against Gabe and Criminals, a lot of times they'll come after HQ more. Remote servers were not really in play. I had Ash down here, which initiates a trace and prevents a run, and some big ice, but I never quite had that window where I could just throw an agenda in there. It protected my austerity policy, which helped me score some other stuff.
And I do think the reality of the tempo of this game is important. So if we play this match again, on the off chance that I don't hit a 2 on the first turn with makers, and then I don't also snipe the 3, I have to play this game a lot differently.
Very much.
When I got to, it was 5-2, my whole game plan, like I was saying earlier, came down to stay ahead on money, always be capable, because I had FEM, and I had the code gate, so I knew I knew I could get wherever I needed to get, and then at that point, it's just setting up a high odds opportunity. I miscalculated the math, but setting up a high odds opportunity to just guarantee I win the game, instead of playing the like hide and seek, check the hand, check the remote, check the hand, spend a lot of money for chances to get points, which is what you a lot of times have to do.
I think that was just a very dramatic way of you finishing the game. Just being like, oh no, I made a mistake, but I've got it. But that is something that is worth noting to aspiring runners, right? You're at 5 points, I'm at 2. The number of runners that at that moment will continue just to go all out, make themselves bankrupt, looking in the hand and deck and just trying to find it. You can run yourself ragged doing that, give the corp now the tempo and the advantage because you're running yourself out of money for nothing, and then they catch up and win the game. And a lot of people will ask during games of Netrunner, I was ahead, I don't know how it is that I lost. I just couldn't find the agendas. What you need to do is let the corporation kind of dictate where the agendas are likely to be, right? If there's nothing going on over here, corp continues to draw cards, why bother?
Yeah.
You're not being threatened at all. There is no chance of you losing that game until the corp does something. So stay cool, get money, get all the money in the world, and threaten, and then when you have your opportunity, your multi-access or an agenda comes down, you go get it.
And I think that is definitely, in this game, that is probably the biggest thing that got showcased, which is everyone's been there. We've all been there. You get to 5 or 6 points, and it's just like that, I just need one more.
Yeah.
And you just like keep trying all the time to
Easy
find
to
it.
get tunneled in there.
When you're ahead that big, calm down.
Yeah.
And
cool.
give yourself very high odds instead of a lot of low odd chances, right? It's like, if you don't need to hit the jackpot, don't buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, no.
Or don't be counting on the lottery ticket.
No
But
joke.
sometimes, and there's a lot of games in there that go this way, you get behind, you get down, and you have to take the lottery ticket shot, right? You have to hit the hand and hope you get the points. You have to hit the remote, or you have to hit the deck and get the points.
Absolutely.
And we've seen some of those. I've seen you win
done
some
that
of those
quite a
games where it's
bit,
like,
yeah.
well,
Hail
it's either on
Mary.
the top of your deck and I win, or I don't, and then bam, there it is.
And kind of the last thing that I'll say, you'll notice early in the game, I played Biotic Labor into Project Vitruvius to get it scored out without any risk. But a lot of times that's really not the best play. Like in this game, that was not my best play. I was interested in kind of showing the Biotic Labor play, but the reality is I had Ash in hand. I had at least like one ice server. You weren't really set up very well yet.
Not yet.
So why not just traditionally score it out? I still hold on to the Biotic Labor. I save 4 credits. And then I can have that for later in the game when I really need to get something out of my hand, right?
And if I don't go, even at that point, if I go steal the agenda, not that big, especially if you slow me down like by making me spend a bunch of money to get there. And then if you do happen to get it with like an extra advancement on it, and now you have that ability to get, because it lets you get a card from your archives back.
Yeah.
Now you have the Biotic in hand and another way to get it back.
And I can even like hide an agenda over here, and when you go to run it, I can just put it in my hand.
100%.
Right? A lot of good options. So the game is fascinating, it's complex, it's amazing, and the decision trees, I gotta tell you, are like nothing else compared, like, especially with the freedom of the game to go down whatever tree you wish. Like Zach could have run here, 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 and chose to take the winning shot on R&D instead.
Swoosh.
Absolutely amazing. Thanks for watching, guys. We've got, like I said, blogs with these very kind of early beginner deck lists. You can take these, build them up, play these kinds of games, and then actually just take that deck list and keep getting some packs and building on it, exploring the themes that you want to build on. Or you can check out our other videos where we're showing off other runners, other corporations, see which one you dig, and check out those blogs and build it up. So thanks for watching, and learn Netrunner. It's great.
We'll
You're
see
in the right
you on
place.
the next one.
If you want more of these kinds of videos, you can check the rest of our Learning Netrunner series. You can also click over to our blog via the description in this video to find deck lists for everything used here, as well as more detailed information. We've also got revised core sets on the store, data tokens, and our subscription service to send you every product as it comes out. Thanks for watching.